Stuart, Florida. Located on Martin County. Famous for the sailfish. Here is a view of the old Elliott Museum, located in Hutchinson Island, just east of Stuart. This place is filled with artifacts of its historical past of Martin County. As Stuart is the sailfish capital of the world, it is also the home of nesting sea turtles as well. Yes, there are sea turtles around. This old footage shows the historic Stuart, Florida Main Street, and it is filled with cafes, shops, and lyric theater. Today, we're going to look at Stuart, Florida. Next on Around Florida. Florida, the Sunshine State of the United States of America, filled with history and excitement. It has 3 largest cities and some large cities, and even tourist spots. And this state also has some history to it, and some famous landmark buildings, and winter homes, and everywhere you go, which is filled of surprises. And around you, you'll enjoy the best time in the Sunshine State in Around Florida. Today's Around Florida, we will be exploring the Florida sailfish capital of the world, Stuart, Florida. Hello, Florida Treasure Coast lovers. Welcome again to Around Florida. Wow, I'm at the sailfish capital of the world, aka Florida seaside town. And do you know what that place is called? Give up? It's Stuart, Florida. That's right, Stuart, Florida, which was founded years and years ago in the 1900s, in the early days of the pioneers. And here I am standing now is the Stuart Heritage Museum that we'll be exploring today here in Around Florida. And we're going to have some fun around Stuart, and we're going to go explore some museums and attractions that some of you had seen it before and some of you haven't. So without any further ado, let's explore Stuart, Florida. We're driving down I-95 as we are heading to a place where no other tourists have gone before. And it is located in Martin County. We call it Stuart, Florida. That's right, Stuart, Florida. Florida's greatest seaside town. And it was also known as the sailfish capital of the world. That's right. That's because Stuart, Florida is really the sailfish capital of the world. It is home to many sailfish that people caught one and saw them and enjoyed them swimming on a bay. That retro McDonald's really greet us to Stuart, Florida, as we are heading into downtown Stuart, Florida, where it has a park right behind the museum, which we're about to see in a moment. Now that we enjoyed the park for a while, it's time to enter one of the first attractions in Stuart, Florida, the Stuart Heritage Museum, located near downtown Stuart. It is free admission to everyone. Donations are appreciated when you want to buy gifts there. So now, let's look inside the museum and see what Stuart is really all about. Here's our volunteer guide, Charlotte Esker.
Okay, this is about the history of Martin County.
Yeah.
And this town was originally called Potsdam.
Mm-hmm.
Potsdam was a suburb of Berlin, about 20 miles northeast of Berlin. A lot of German people here. So they decided on Potsdam. But the conductors on the trains would yell out, "Potsdam, Potsdam," and the ladies didn't like it because it sounded like they were saying damn pots. They thought they were cussing, so they changed the name to Stuart. This man here, Homer Stuart, gave some land to the city, so they named it after him, though he wasn't here very long.
Oh, so okay. That was Homer Stuart right here. Stuart, Florida was founded in 1895 after Potsdam. Now, the volunteer Charlotte had mentioned to us that the building used to be made out of Dade County pine, which wasn't been made anymore. She showed us the dark wood of Dade County pine and the light wood for regular pine, which was the difference in old buildings of Stuart. As you all know, Homer Student was the founder of Stuart, Florida after Potsdam in 1895. And as you can see, it has all the old Indian artifacts in this Stuart Heritage Museum.
Now this is a replica of the town. This is this building,
yes.
1901, and this was 1903. This building here used to be closer to the tracks.
Yes.
And they moved it back some. And they had, the train would come and unload the barrels of oil and kerosene, and they would roll it to the river and load it on boats and go up and down, because that was their main artery of getting around, was the boats.
I see.
And before the bridge was built, they came across on ferries. Here's a picture of this building in 1902, and you can see how close it was to the tracks.
Okay. Yes, the railroad station is close to the tracks, seen here in this picture. That's because the railroad trains played an important role in Stuart, Florida, for people to get around easily. Oh, so this is
this building.
Yes.
When it was closer to the tracks, you can see how close it was there.
Ah, it's close to the tracks.
But I don't know why they moved it. No one ever mentioned that.
Right.
This lady right here, that was my first grade teacher. I've lived here since 1949.
Oh, I see.
Ms. Lowry, she was my second grade teacher, and every year she took the class on a trip to Fort Pierce on the train, fed the class lunch, and brought them back on the bus.
I see.
So that was a field trip.
As Charlotte once mentioned to us that she took a field trip on a train ride to Fort Pierce when she was young, and she enjoyed it. Back in the 1940s, people loved riding a train from Stuart to Fort Pierce if they want to enjoy daycations and so much more. And there are many, many things to enjoy in Stuart Heritage Museum, like old retro sewing machines. That was used back in the old days, and some of them still uses today in cobbler shops and tailor shops and more, if they want to keep it retro that way. I see the old telephone. I used to have it. And
kids have never seen a dial phone.
an old dial phone. I used to have it when I was a kid.
When I was a little girl, we had a party line. There was 8 people on it.
Oh.
And my number was 350. But if you wanted to call your friend, you'd pick up the phone, and a lady, one of these operators would come on,
Yeah.
and you'd say, extension 214, and they'd connect you to your friend.
Yeah, I remember the 50s. It goes, operator.
Yeah.
481, please.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's that. And there's where the operators were in the.
The telephone operators used to work in this old building seen here.
This is Henry Sewell's plantation.
Oh, Henry.
That's my girlfriend, Teresa Kruger. That's her family's
I
plantation.
see.
And this is Jensen's plantation.
Right.
But when Flagler put the railroad through, the imports ruined the price.
I see.
And then a freeze came, and they gave up because it takes 2 years to grow a pineapple, so
Right.
they abandoned it. They didn't grow them anymore, and then they started in the 50s and 60s growing flowers. And when I was in high school, I guess I was 13 or 14, I worked in a rose farm in Palm City called Rose Cove.
I see.
I got paid $1.25 an hour.
Oh. That's an old pay. Oh, so the piece of 8 looks like this.
That's a piece of 8. 1707, the date, you can't read the date, but that is from 1707 to 1716.
As you can see, Charlotte had explained to us how the washing and drying works in the good old days of Stuart, Florida. As she explains further how it works, it looks kind of old-fashioned. Also, Charlotte explained how cleaning dishes and pots and pans work in the good old days, like keeping the pan non-stick and keeping it clean using a special cleaner. And there are many, many, many good old artifacts, old toys, old stuff, and all of the old apparel found everywhere in this Heritage Museum. Remember Raggedy Ann and Andy? They're there, all right. And some old dolls is there as well. Plus, there's also scouting uniforms available in this museum, along with guidebooks, maps, and photos and details. And as we go along, we saw old sewing machines on display, and some old typewriters and change machines as well. And there are many, many, many places to explore. And if this is your first time visiting Stuart, Florida, then the Stuart Heritage Museum would be your first on the list. And they got the old-fashioned ice cream and coffee house waiting for you when you visit Stuart. Perhaps the famous road in Stuart, Florida is Confusion Corner. That's right, which leads you to A1A north or south, and it depends on where you want to go. This footage from the 1970s shows that people drive around Confusion Corner to find out where they would like to go around Stuart, Florida, State Route 76 or A1A. Take a look at the one today that people still drives Confusion Corner to find out where they want to go around Stuart, Florida. It would be wise to have a GPS in handy so you can find out where you're going. And that's a look at Confusion Corner. Try not to get confused on the road when you're in Stuart. That was so much fun exploring the Stuart Heritage Museum. Remember, that place is free. Now, let's see the rest of Stuart, Florida. Let's leave downtown Stuart and head on down to Hutchinson Island, east of Stuart, Florida. Along the way, at the start, you'll find one of the greatest museums in Martin County, the Elliott Museum. That's right. The Elliott Museum is home to many collectibles, such as classic automobiles and other old Stuart, Florida heritage and artifacts galore. Elliott Museum. Never seen this place before, but this place is totally awesome in the Treasure Coast. In 1936, Sterling Elliott made Stuart, Florida his winter home, and this museum was named after him. Now, as we explore Elliott Museum, you'll find and you'll learn many classic automobiles, airplanes, and some artifacts on display. And this is like the classic car heaven of transportation, which was used long ago. And what you will see is one of the greatest automobiles and some old form of transportation as shown on display, like the old Ford Model T and this old Ford Model Service Cars, which is the tow truck, and the mail truck, and this tow truck was a classic one back in the 30s. And along the way, we see retro bicycles and retro gas service stations. And this old bicycles takes you back into the good old Great Depression days. And as we go along, we see some more features and more items and collectibles on display. Here's the old menu of Francis Langford's Outrigger Restaurant, which was located in Jensen Beach, Florida. It deemed to be popular years ago, filled with delicious food and drinks. And coming up, there are more artifacts of the old collectibles and the camping in Stuart. And there's also circus displays at Elliott Museum. These are the miniatures and the circus model. Remember the Ringling Museum located in Sarasota? We'll get to that in the next episode and explain further details of the circus. But this is a simple circus display where people came out to enjoy the circus long ago in Stuart, Florida. And there's an old general store on display featured in Elliott Museum of a retro general store in Stuart looks like back in the good old days. It's just like taking you back in time to the old days of Stuart, Florida, and Hutchinson Island, and Jensen Beach, Florida. This has also the old post office exhibit on display to get a glimpse of what the old post office in Stuart looks like. Remember the items that we saw in Stuart Heritage Museum that I told you about? Here they are on display in Elliott Museum. A lot of old things galore. It is packed wall to wall with all the works of art and all things on display. And a lot of people contribute items to this museum for permanent displays to enjoy it for years to come. And that is why that every piece of item is old-fashioned is featured here. Isn't it wonderful exploring what old Stuart looks like? And the famous Ashley Gang, also featured on display at this museum. Yes, there's the notorious Ashley Gang on display in this museum. And you'll find some artifacts, what it was used at the time. And now that exploring the old Stuart exhibit is done, time to head back to the automobiles. As previously mentioned, that Elliott Museum has a display of classic cars and buses and tow trucks and gas pumps available. Of course, there are old vehicles on display in this highlighter. After we saw a glimpse of the old bike, we chose the 1927 Ford Model T to be shown in this display, as this device brings the vehicle from its spot to the front, and it rotates around, getting a glimpse of what the old vehicle really looks like. You ask the curator to choose which one to be shown on display at a kiosk, and the machine will move that old vehicle out and bring in another vehicle to the front. Now that's what I call a museum filled with vehicles on display. As you wander about in a display filled with classic cars and other forms of transportation, the second floor of Elliott Museum is so stunning and spectacular. You get to see some boats and an old model plane like the Wright brothers. And you get to see it all. Here's what the curator of this museum has to say.
What makes this museum so special is our beautiful car collection. We have antique cars, 3-story garage that you're able to pick out and choose which vintage car you would like to be brought down just for you. We also have beautiful artwork. We have exhibits that are world-renowned. We have our famous Ashley Gang, and we have wonderful guests that come to visit us just like you.
If you're looking for a place to enjoy some classic vehicles and old Stuart, Florida, Elliott Museum is the place to go. Next, we head south to the House of Refuge at Gilbert's Bar on Hutchinson Island. It is one of the last remaining of the original dozen shipwreck life-saving stations on Florida's Atlantic coast, operated by the United States Life Saving Service, prior to the U.S. Coast Guard. It is also called St. Lucie Rocks, 2 miles north of what is now the St. Lucie Inlet, on the coastal rocks of the Anastasia Formation, and it is the only one that remains today. William H. Hunt of Dade County, on March 19, 1875, granted the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury in a lien of 20 years for the piece of land at St. Lucie Rocks known as the Gilbert Spar, called the House of Refuge. It is filled with many artifacts on display, and everything you see. This place also has some shipwrecked artifacts, seen here. In 1904, it offered shelter to the survivors of the George Valentine shipwreck. In 1915, the House of Refuge became the U.S. Coast Guard Station 207 when the U.S. Life-Saving Service was combined with the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service to form the modern U.S. Coast Guard. And it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1955. Come visit the House of Refuge Museum, located south of Elliott Museum. Florida Oceanographic Coastal Center. Now, that's a similar aquarium that you'll find around Florida. There are many different aquariums around. The Florida Oceanographic Coastal Center, located across the street from Elliott Museum and next to Publix. What you are about to see in this museum is filled with sea creatures of all kinds, like the stingrays you see. In this stingray presentation, a curator explains how stingrays swim, how they were fed, and how they were petted the right way. Here's an example.
You probably noticed that we had some rays hanging out on the bottom of the tank. But if you noticed them, then you probably also noticed all of the sand on the bottom. So wouldn't you think that those rays laying in the sand would be sucking that sand up into their gill? All the way flat to the bottom, like you're giving that ledge a high five. Push that arm, nice job. And all the way flat, reach, 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 all the way down to the bottom. All the way down to the bottom. Reach, 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 all the way down. And just wait for them to come over. When they're above your hand, loosen your grip. And then just pull that hand out of the water once that food is gone.
There's a lot more things to see and do at Florida Oceanographic Coastal Center. You'll get to see marine life creatures. Plus, there's an indoor museum to visit to learn all the things of sea life, how oceans were connected, and how there are living things in and out of the ocean, like the living coral reefs, and how these creatures use camouflage, and how those fishes swim in the water while searching for food and searching for something. The ocean currents and gyres are on display in this museum, and you get to see a sculpture of this kind of creature in the main entrance. And there's a gift shop in it too. Yes, there are more animal presentations at Florida Oceanographic Coastal Center. What you will find is sea turtles, which they occupy here, and they treat it well and release it back into the wild. Sea turtles often occur in the mid-year, and they lay eggs on the sand, and the babies hatch to head into the sea. Here at the Florida Oceanographic Coastal Center, there are a lot more things to see and do, and to spot watch marine life creatures swimming on a lake in this museum. If you're looking for some marine life fun in Stuart, Florida, Florida Oceanographic Coastal Center is the place to go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed visiting Stuart, Florida and Hutchinson Island. And it's time to head back home. Up on the bridge and back into downtown Stuart around Confusion Corner as we head back home and we hope you've enjoyed the Sailfish Capital of the world, Stuart, Florida. Have a good time exploring this place. Wowee zowie! We had a good time exploring around Stuart, Florida. Now it's time to put on pause for this episode, and that's all the time we have here and around Florida. Don't forget, there are more exciting Florida places to visit, so I'll be seeing you in the next Around Florida. See you next time. Be sure to visit my Facebook page at facebook.com/DragonAsiaProductions and view my videos, give it a like, and leave a comment, question, or request, and I'll be happy to respond to you back. You can also visit Keep Moving Forward Films YouTube channel by typing in Keep Moving Forward Films on YouTube. This way, be sure to press thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a question, comment, or request. This is Mike, and I'll be seeing you in the next Around Florida adventure. Have a great time! Join us on the next Around Florida as we take you to Sarasota to explore the Ringling Museum of the Art, the Circus, and the mansion called Hadazan. We will explore the history of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, and we will explore the inside of the Hadazan Mansion, and the old Circus Galleries building, and the Museum of the Art itself. So join us as we view the Ringling on the next Around Florida.